Muslim warriors. For the moment, the Prophet divided it equally among all. Subsequently, a Quran revelation laid down a rule for future division of the spoils. According to this rule, a fifth was reserved for the public treasury for the support of the poor and indigent, while the distribution of the remaining four-fifths was left to the discretion of the chief of the state. Meccan avenged loss in Badr, Battle of Uhud. The next battle between the Quraysh and the Muslims was the Battle of Uhud, a hill about 4 miles to the north of Medina. The idolaters, to revenge their loss at Badr, made tremendous preparations for a new attack upon the Muslims. They collected an army of 3,000 strong men, of whom 700 were armed with coats of mail and 200 horses. These forces advanced under the conduct of Abu Sufyan and encamped at a village 6 miles from Medina, where they gave themselves up to spoiling the fields and flocks of the Medinites. The Prophet, being much inferior to his enemies in number, at first determined to keep himself within the town and to receive them there. But afterwards, the advice of some of his companions prevailing, he marched out against them at the head of 1,000 men, of whom 100 were armed with coats of mail, but he had no more than one horse besides his own in his whole army. While these forces he halted at Mount Uhud, he was soon abandoned by Abdullah ibn Ubay, the leader of the hypocrites, with 300 of his followers. Thus the small force of the Prophet was reduced to 700. At Mount Uhud, the Muslim troops passed the night, and in the morning, after offering their prayers, they advanced into the plain. The Prophet contrived to have the hill at his back, and the better to secure his men from being surrounded, he placed 50 archers on the height in the rear, behind the troops, and gave them strict orders not to leave their post, whatever might happen. When they came to engage, the Prophet had superiority at first, but afterward his archers left their position for the sake of plunder, thus allowing the enemy to attack the Muslims in the fear and surround them. The Prophet lost the day and very nearly lost his life. He was struck down by a shower of stones and wounded in the face by 2 arrows, and one of his front teeth was broken. Of the Muslims, 70 men were killed, among whom was the Prophet's uncle Hamza. Of the infidels, 22 men were lost. Exhausted, Quraysh leave Medina victorious. The Quraysh were too exhausted to follow up their advantage either by attacking Medina or by driving the Muslims from the heights of Uhud. They retreated from the Medinite territories after barbarously mutilating the corpses of their dead enemies. Almighty Allah said, "So do not become weak against your enemy, nor be sad, and you will be superior in victory, if you are indeed true believers. If a wound and killing has touched you, be sure a similar wound and killing has touched the others. And so are the days, good and not so good. We give to men by turns, that Allah may test those who believe, and that he may take martyrs from among you, and Allah likes not the Zalimeen, polytheists and wrongdoers, and that Allah may test or purify the believers from sins and destroy the disbelievers. Do you think that you will enter paradise before Allah test those of you who fought in His cause?